everyone. Welcome back to another Ad America TV event with me, Jasmine. I hope you all are doing well. So for those of you joining us for the first time, Ad America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. We have temporarily moved to a digital platform so you can still enjoy all of our events at the comfort of your own home. So for tonight, we will be discussing how to write a statement of purpose or personal essay for U.S. universities. But before we begin, I would like to share with you guys that Ad America is having a giveaway as part of the continuation of our 10th anniversary and also a celebration of Women's History Month. We are telling you guys to participate in our giveaway, so you guys might be lucky to receive one of the 10 tabs that we will be giving away. So how can you guys participate? Stay tuned until the end of the program because that's when I'll be telling you guys how to participate. Now, as usual, before we begin all of our events, I would like to share with you guys our social media quiz for this evening. So the question is, what does the word proofread mean? Does it mean to change what you have written to a true story? To share what you have written with an expert? To check what you have written for mistakes? Or last option, to prove what you have written to a committee. So what does proofread mean? You guys can participate in our social media quiz by commenting on our social media platform. And for those of you who got the answer correctly, you will get a live shout out from us at the end of the program. And for those of you joining us on Instagram, don't forget to make an Insta story and tag us at AT America to share with everybody that you're having a great time with us this evening. Okay, without further ado, let's invite our moderator for this evening. Please give a warm welcome for our Education USA advisors here at America, Ms. Vina Alatas and Santika Salim.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jasmine. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ad America TV. My name is Vina. I'm one of the advisors for Education USA based in Ad America. Very excited about the event tonight because we didn't have one last month. So as you may already know, or maybe this is your first time hearing about this, this is part of our monthly event. But before we start, I would like to say hi to everyone who is currently watching the session from so many different platforms, because not only here in Zoom, but we are basically all over the social media platform. We are on Facebook, we are on Twitter. Some of you are probably watching this from Instagram. We are also live on YouTube. Or if you want to join the crowd, we are actually here in Zoom right now. It's getting crowded. If you want to, interact with the other participants, or I have my colleague Santika who will basically help me during my presentation to take some of your questions in the chat room. Feel free to come here. But if you just, feel comfortable where you guys are watching this session, feel free to stay there. You can definitely ask any questions from, like Facebook, Twitter, or wherever you guys are watching this from, because we already have our amazing team making sure that all of your questions going to be pulled in the other, like in the documents, where later on I will read all of those questions, and I'm going to answer it after my presentation. Okay, but if this is your first time, again, I would like to say welcome. I would like to give you a quick introduction. If this is not your first time, you already know what I'm gonna basically share with you before we dive into the presentation itself. Okay, so give me 1 second. Okay, so if this is your first time and then you're kind of like wondering, what is Education USA? So Education USA, we are part of the U.S. Department of State Network, or here in Indonesia, we call it Kementerian Luar Negerinya Amerika Serikat. We have over 400 international student advising centers in more than 170 countries. So as you can see, we are basically all over the world. And what we do is we assist everyone who wants to study in the U.S. for higher education, such as bachelor's, master's, or PhD, or we call it here in Indonesia S1, S2, atau S3. And all of our services are free of charge. I know it sounds too good to be true, but I can guarantee you right now it's true. I want, basically one of my missions being the Education USA advisor is to basically spread this new to as many people as possible. I want Education USA basically going to be your go-to place if you want to study in the US. So in Indonesia, of course, not only here in America, but we have 8 centers with a total of 10 advisors. So we have 2 in Jakarta, one at the U.S. Embassy, and then one, of course, where I'm currently at, in America Pacific Place. And then we also have 2 in Surabaya. We have one in Medan, Malang, Makassar, and Banda Aceh. So if there is no EducationUSA center where you live, you don't have to worry, because basically we cover the whole country. But then now, since you are with us here in America, you might as well just contact either Santika or myself. So we provide you with 5 steps. We start with step 1, that is research your options. So if you know that you want to study in the US but you don't know where to start, feel free to come see us, and then we basically going to talk about some of your options, and we'll be able to, take some of your basic questions. And then once you pretty much good to go, like, okay, I know I'm going to study in the US, and then we can move on to step 2, which is finance your studies. Because of course it's equally important, right? We can definitely talk about some of the funding options for international students. And then once we also figure that out, pretty much we can move on to step 3, which is completing your application. So for example, the event tonight is part of step 3. So it's getting very technical. Earlier, before we just start, I basically shared in the chat that get yourself comfortable, because this presentation is going to take a while, but I guarantee you that you are going to learn so much about statement of purpose. And then once we basically, you submit everything, we can also, talk about like resume or CV or, standardized tests, a lot of things going on in step 3. Once you submit everything, you are going to, give some time to wait until you hear from the universities, which, by the way, we started to receive a lot of emails from our advisees, some of our advisees basically sharing some of the good news. So if you guys are watching this, congratulations. And so yeah, and then we actually expect more and more people are going to hear back from the university. And then what happens is sometimes like around, like in summer, like around I would say like June, July, August. That's when we are basically on step 4, which is applying for your student visa. So this would be the time when people ask, how hard it is to ace the visa interview and all that, right? So we can actually guide you on that as well. And then last but not least, we have step 5, which is prepare for your departure. Hopefully, we are going to have one probably virtual, but we don't know yet because America is still not open for public. But I really look forward. I always look forward for this event every single year. Basically, this is for the event for people who already got accepted and they are about to depart to the US. We are going to, give them a lot of information about everything that you need to know before, or maybe, like when the first few things that you need to do when you get to the US, how to open a bank account, and so on, right? And meet with us. Again, my name is Vina. I'm going to call up my colleague Santika later on after the presentation, but Santika is already basically, I'm pretty sure, is already busy in chat. And this is what I love about EducationUSA at America, because I'm doing a presentation, but I guarantee you the chat will be very lively. So if you have any questions or anything like that, please, or if you just want to say hi, feel free to do that. Santika will definitely like help me basically, in the chat. Our advising hours is basically similar to before we are doing all digital, because when we were at America, we open every day, 7 days a week, and then we start from 1 until 9 p.m. So now that we are moving fully digital, we definitely still do the same advising hours, that is from 1 until 9. I leave you the Zoom ID here, and then I'll ask Santika to copy paste the link. So you can just like, save it. And then the next time you want to go to Zoom, you can just, click. All right. And then the advising system is first come, first serve. So technically, you don't have to make any appointment with us, just as long as the advising room is open. You're going to be, you will have to wait in the waiting room. But then if there is no one in the room, there is no advising session going on, and either Santika or myself, you're available, then we're going to let you in, okay? Or if you don't feel like just, jump into Zoom and see one of us, you can email us first if you want to our email center. It's jakarta.atamerica at educationusa.org. If you have any question or you just want to introduce yourself, feel free to do that, okay? So when April comes, we're going to kick off the month with another monthly event that is building strong CVs and everything, basically everything that you need to know about CVs, resumes, as well as letters of recommendation. So this is again, like, this is our monthly event. We had that a couple of weeks ago. So if you want to join this again, or if you want to share this event to your friend, feel free to do that. And then this is basically similar to what we are going to have tonight. We already have this ready for the month of April because, like I said, this is part of our monthly event. Basically, I'm using the same presentation slides, but I started to realize that the way I present it every time might be different because I'm still learning. I'm actually still learning about essay writing. So as time goes on, I may actually share the latest information. So, and we actually also start to realize that there are a number of people who watch this session a couple of times, although, again, I use the same presentation slides. But yeah, feel free to do that as well if you want, or maybe you can share it with your friend, okay? And this is actually getting more interesting because this is actually the first time I create these events. We create these events. Basically, this is a follow-up from this event, right? So this is on Thursday, April the 8th. This one is on Saturday that same week. Basically, kind of like follow-up. I won't have any presentation slides, but this is just a discussion. So anything that you want to kind of like ask about essay writing, and I'm going to give you a lot of tips that is not in the presentation slides. And what is interesting about this event is that I am going to invite a number of my advisees as well as Santikas who are currently working on their essay with us to basically share with you guys their experience. All right, so I already asked a number of my advisees if they are up for it. And I told them, no pressure. They don't have to turn on their camera, but if they want to, they can do that. But basically, we want to hear what they think about the session. So for example, I have one advisee. We already on 8 revisions. We are still far away, but and maybe I think she's kind of like frustrated at this point. But then at the same time, she also said that she learns a lot, and so we want to hear from her about her experience. So I think it's going to be very interesting. This is going to be on Saturday, 1:30. So get your lunch and then join the session with us. All right. You can already register through the 3 events that I just showed you on our website. You can go to EduAmerica website or EducationUSA website, atamerica.or.id/EducationUSA, or the EducationUSA website, which is educationusa.state.gov. So you can already register for the Zoom, and it's actually really nice because the day before, or I think on the day, they're going to give you like a reminder, so you won't forget. Okay. Okay, so let's basically just start. I'm gonna make sure that okay, so it's 6:44. I'm just gonna keep my time here so we have a lot of times to do Q&A. So tonight we are going to talk about how to write a statement of purpose or personal essay, or there are so many other terms that we are going to take a look together. Okay, let's just like start with this one slide that basically says that the fact that writing the U.S. admission essays is really that important. So important to the point where I basically give this presentation every single month. And why is that? And you're going to learn the reason, okay? But let's see. Each school basically is going to require a statement of purpose or personal essay. So far, I have not heard any, especially for the graduate school, where they don't ask some sort of form of, essay writing, and they call it differently. And we're going to take a look at that, right? And then after this fact, you want to kind of like check if any of the prompts from each school overlap, because most likely they will. It means that they're pretty much asking the same question. The first time you read the questions from one program to another program might be kind of like different. Like you might think that, oh, I think they're asking different thing. But then if you actually keep reading it, or maybe if you're unsure, that's basically, you can definitely ask me or ask Santika. Most of the times, words by words, they are asking it kind of like differently, but then the meaning behind it is basically the same. That is the statement of purpose. That is what I'm going to give the presentation on tonight, all right? When that being the case, we can create only one great essay instead of, let's say you want to apply to 4 or 5 universities. Instead of 5 4 different essays, you can actually going to just like focus on one essay, and then we can actually build and use that essay to different programs. And then we can just kind of like modify it depending on the program, right? When we're going to talk about like the structure later on, in this presentation, you will understand better about the structure where, the part where we are going to modify the content depending on the university that we're going to. But the majority of the essays is basically going to be the same, right? And this is basically what I focus on when I do presentation with my advisees. So I told them that let's focus on this only one essay, because sometimes, I have advices coming in and then they said, I have like 4 other essays to work on. And then so I said, do you want to share some of these questions to me? And then let's take a look at it together. There are some questions that are kind of different from one program to another. If that's the case, then yes, we want to make sure that we really answered their question. But then again, like I said earlier, most of the time it's pretty much like the same. So let's take a look at some of these terms, because the title of this event is basically statement of purpose or personal essay. But then there are actually, some of universities that I call personal statement or motivation statement. We actually heard a lot of you guys say, please, review my motivation letter. So are they the same? So let's take a look at that. Statement of purpose versus personal versus motivation. The statement of purpose is basically the very common term for U.S. universities on the graduate level, such as master's or PhD, right? So what is statement of purpose? Basically very simple, just like what it's called. It's about you making a statement about your purpose. So the key word here is purpose, which is what you're going to do with this degree, right? But then there are some programs that they say, they just simply say essay or personal statement. Again, like what it's called, it's about you making a statement about your personal story. But then oftentimes, this when things kind of get confusing, because especially again for the graduate level, because they may call it just personal statement or just personal essay or just like essay, but then actually it's a statement of purpose. What happens usually is, they say, submit an essay, and then they have like a short kind of like prompt, like a question. And that's when a lot of people kind of confuse what is it that they're really asking, And that's when you guys share that to me, I can clarify it. And again, oftentimes, even though they call it personal essay or personal statement or just like essay, it's actually a statement of purpose, right? And so that's why, hopefully, that what makes the event tonight will be very informative for you. Okay, there's another term that is called motivation letter. However, that is not the common term, and that is not the term at all for U.S. universities. Motivation letter is, well, basically it's an essay, but it is an essay for European country. I don't know about like if in Asia or like some other countries if they call it motivation letter, but I know that motivation letter is the essay term for European countries. And so we can kind of like say that we can already assume that if you ask me, hey Fina, can you take a look at my motivation letter, that means that you're also going to apply to European countries, which is, well, technically it's your right, it's totally okay, but I just want to give you a heads up from here on. That's why if you actually receive this invitation about this event through email and you actually read the content of the email, there's like this one small part in the body email that says, from the very beginning of this event, something along these lines, where, from the beginning of this presentation, it will be very crucial, so please don't be late. And this is what I want to give you a heads up on, because this is like pretty much still early from my presentation, right? I still have like a lot of slides to go on. But basically, I just want to give you a heads up that you do not want to use this style of statement of purpose to U.S. universities for you to apply to European countries, and vice versa, right? You don't want to use the style of essays for European countries to the U.S., right? So this is completely different, and this one is exclusively for U.S. universities, all right? And just in case you guys are watching this session and then you actually you're not planning to study in the U.S., Because we actually did have someone emailing us, or maybe like a couple of people emailing us, hey, I want to study, in one of the European countries. Can you please take a look? And of course, the answer is, I'm sorry, no. This is we are Education USA. We only help and assist everyone who wants to study in the US. All right? Okay. Let's see. What makes the US admission essay important and different to the point where I have this presentation every single month, right? It's okay. So first of all, this writing a US essay is actually not as easy as a lot of us thought. It's not as easy as I thought in the beginning when I actually, learn about this, admission essay. It can be actually very challenging because it is not as simple as writing your autobiography. Here's the thing: when we think about essay, so let's say you want to study, in countries outside the US, basically when it comes to like essay, we are thinking about, oh, it's essays, it's an essay about myself. And so when you say that to yourself, it's basically you're pretty much writing an autobiography, right? If that's the case, basically there is no point of me giving this presentation tonight and even like giving this presentation like every single month, because then that's fairly easy to the point where you don't even need me or any education essay advisor to take a look at your essay if what is in the essay is about your autobiography, right? Because then what kind of, I can't change anything in it because you're the one who's writing about yourself, right? So and now I'm breaking the news to you guys that when you want to write an essay to US universities, that is not what you're going to write. Okay? You are writing a story, yes, and some people think about, yeah, story is about me, right? But then actually it's not 100% about you. We can definitely talk a little bit about yourself, but that's not like the big, you know, main purpose of the essay. It's basically the ending goal of having the essay. Again, remember the term is statement of purpose. It's about you making a statement of your purpose, not about you actually. But then also at the same time, we want to create an essay that sets you apart from the other applicants. And here's when things actually getting more challenging, because I want you to end up with an essay that literally no one else in this world, as cliche as it sounds, can write. I want you to produce an essay that is only you who can write. Okay? All right, I know now you'll be like, what is she saying? But, stay with me. All right, so the US admission essay, this is another important thing, right? The US admission essay is viewed, this is also another reason why I have this every single month and why the US essay is different and everything, is because the US admission essay is viewed as something personal by the admissions committee, meaning they really read it and they really actually want to get to know you on what it is that you are going to do in the future. All right, they really read it. The way I look at some other essays for other countries is that they are more heavy when they review your application. This is what sets apart the US and like other countries when they review applicants, is that I feel like they are heavier on your academic performance. And that's why it's very common for us here in Asia or like just in Indonesia, where I don't know if I can get into this university because my GPA is that. Oh, I'm not sure if I can get into this university because my GRE is not that great. So it's all about just grades, like numbers and everything. But I'm telling you right now that because essay is very important, and the way that the universities review our application is by holistic, meaning that they really review pretty much everything. Essays, that what makes essay plays a huge role. And again, and also in the US, if you don't know this yet, they are definitely paying attention to your grade, like your, the GPA when you were still in college, and if they ask you GRE and stuff like that. But then it's